Hello everyone, this is Nikan Goyal from the Networkers Home and we are going to discuss today Palo Alto Firewall practicals. If you remember, in the last video we set up the lab and we create the LAN zone, WAN zone, DMZ zone in the lab setup. Okay, practical things is remaining which I told you. Okay, so in this video we are going to discuss that from step by step. Even you are beginner or experienced, you will get the proper idea how to create and maintain the firewall zones with the real scenario security practicals. So let's see the screen. So here you can see guys, the topology is ready what we create in the last video, and firewall actually taking some time to start. So for your convenience, I already started this firewall, but other device I will start in front of you and I will show the step by step practical. Okay, so here let's go to the new tab, and from here we are trying to access our Palo Alto Firewall. So graphically you can see here in the topology 30 network is mine, and if you remember our previous video, then our firewall IP is 101. Let me add that also for your easiness. .101 is our firewall IP. Okay, so 30 network is my computer and firewall connected, from that my IP whatever, but this is 101 which we are going to access. 192.168.30.101. Now remember guys, this IP if you type, generally we have the practice like we type the IP and enter. But remember, firewall from the beginning is following the security service. So you need to specify it's a HTTPS. By default it will try to search HTTP. So if you do this and press enter, right now it is showing directly login screen. One thing I want to tell here, suppose if you are doing for the first time after starting the firewall, then it will also show you some accept the risk kind of pop-up from the browser security, because it is HTTPS and this IP is our local IP. Browser from the internet, they don't have any update for this IP secure or not. So that's why you are getting warning. It is your local IP, so you can just click on the accept the risk and you can continue, then you will see this screen. Username is admin and password should be no need to update the password. Okay, it's creating the session. So this line should be there guys, creating administrative session. And if you are opening for the first time, then again it will take a small time to receive all the graphical updates. And see guys, again it is showing what? Welcome notification for PAN OS and everything. Okay, so if you want to see this notification every time, you can simply close. Every time when you start file it will be visible, otherwise click this do not show. And not only this one, you can see here 4 different notification. You can just click and that do not show me again. And then it is setting for telemetry data collection. Like generally if you anyone have idea, like nowadays company are keep receiving the update from our side. If any mistake is there, they will provide update. So if you want to do that, you can. Otherwise right now, let's say remind me later. And you can see your dashboard is here. You can go to the network where you will find the interface and zones. In the last video, we created the LAN zone and then I told you that you can do the same step. So we'll do this here. Okay, according our topology, I will create the DMZ zone also. I will create the WAN zone also. So here let's create the zone, add DMZ zone, and it's a layer 3. Whenever we are going to use our firewall as a edge device from internal to external, it should be layer 3. And other thing we'll discuss step by step. Right now just okay. For creating zone, this is the minimum requirement, zone name and zone type. And also let me add another zone, that is WAN zone. Select L3 and okay. So our 3 zone is ready. Zone 1 already we configured is an interface 1/1. If anyone remember what other thing we require for configuring interface, IP address. Okay, so I will take you to the object. Here we'll find addresses by default first column. If by default something else selected in your computer, then just click addresses, you will find this. And again this LAN IP we created 50.254. That I explained what, that if your firewall is going to become last IP or gateway, then 254 IP is good. And same way, I will configure this network for DMZ zone, and again 254 IP this side, and this network again 254 IP this side. So add, you can see here, firewall DMZ interface IP. Now see guys, name look like long, okay, but again if you remember the explanation in the last video, like what, this should be give the clarity. As a real scenario, maybe multiple firewalls, so we'll let firewall 1, firewall 2 like that, or maybe different vendor firewall, then you can say Palo Alto Firewall, Checkpoint Firewall like that, and then specify which side zone, and then interface IP. If you only put DMZ IP, then after multiple scenario, we'll find multiple DMZ server, and again there is a chances of confusion. So try to use some meaningful name. It's look like longer, but only one time. Later you just need to select graphically and type the IP address. So what is the DMZ IP address we decided? 172.16.99 network and 254 IP. Now also remember guys, that if you only specify the IP, it will be only count as a one single IP network with /32. While here we want actually network communication, so I will use subnet mask as well. And okay. Then add, we'll create WAN interface IP, and if you want to match the pattern, then what, firewall WAN interface IP, and IP address of the public that we taken as a 150 series, and same 254 IP I will keep /24. Okay. So see guys, according to the topology, we create the 3 zone and we create the 3 IP. Now we need to attach on this interface. Okay. So let me take you again network, not in the zone, but come to the interface. And here interface number 2. Remember the topology guys, interface 2 is WAN side. So here interface 2, L3, security zone, WAN zone. Virtual router option will create step by step. Right now I'm just putting the membership of zone and attaching the IP as a normal network communication and WAN IP. So verify here WAN IP, and if you go little bit right side, WAN zone. And then interface number 3. Again interface type mode layer 3. And then security zone will be LAN zone, sorry, DMZ zone, and IP, DMZ IP. Okay. So you can see guys here, interface number 2, layer 3, WAN and WAN zone, and interface number 3, layer 3, DMZ and DMZ zone. According our topology, our requirement is done. Okay. Now what? Whenever you do any configuration, remember guys, this button will be highlighted with this kind of white color. Otherwise, if you notice in the beginning, it is a blur gray kind of color, which is saying that no commit required. Right now, commit required. So we'll click on the commit. It is telling us that these 2 changes you can do. If you remember from the backend side, you can see we changes in the network, that is part of this device and network, and we see change in the object, that is part of policy and object. So if you want to see here any changes that you done properly or is there any mistake, then you can click on change summary. Okay, you will get that whole idea here that you create the IP, you create the interface, you create the you create the IP, you create the interface, and you create the zone. And in that also, if you want to see what actually changes you done, click downside, you can see that this kind of thing you configure. That way you can see one by one. If you find any changes again, you can close this and no need to commit, do that changes again and then commit. Right now everything fine, so I'm clicking on the commit. Now this commit will take time. Okay, so you can see guys here, commit completed successfully. Okay, you also see some notification that is telling about virtual router. Okay, obviously if I want that everyone can communicate, we need to configure virtual router everything. So advanced configure will see in the next video. Right now commit successfully, you can close, and what I told you to configure 3 zone for the firewall with the IP and everything, it is ready, it's done. Okay guys, so in this video we see that how to create the zone and everything proper for the topology, and in next video we'll do the other device configuration so that our lab setup will properly on, and so we can create some security policy as a real scenario, as a real traffic checking. So this is it for this video. If you like this content, give us a likes and thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll meet on the next video. Thanks.